In this video, we'll be going over the continuation of the csharp.net video tutorials. So in this video, we'll be talking about creating multiple forms in a project. So the C# project can have multiple forms. Each form has its own class that can be instantiated and displayed on the screen. So I'm just going to be talking for the first part. This is from the last class, from the last video in the csharp.net playlist. So pretty much a visual C# project can have multiple forms. Each form has its own class and can be instantiated and displayed on the screen. So creating multiple forms. So what's a form? So a form is just an app, but in Windows they call it a form. So the apps you have created so far have had only one form, named form1. So the form1 form is displayed when the app runs, and when the form1 form closes, the app ends. So you're not limited to only one form in a project. So you can create multiple forms in a project to use as, for example, dialog boxes. So in a project you can use them as dialog boxes to display error message and different things. And you can show the forms when you want. So I think we may have used this in the past, for example, with the show dialog method. But every form in a visual C# project has a class. So for example, just back on the screen here, so if we go back to the form code here, so this has its own class, but it's a public partial class, so it's a little bit different. Excuse me. So every form in a visual C# project has a class. If a project has a form named form1, then the project has a class named form1. So this will be stored in a file named form1.cs. So remember, the end of a C# file is .cs to stand for C#. They couldn't use the hashtag as the type. So if a project has a form named form1, and the project has a class named form1, I think I already said that, which is stored in a file named form1. When you add additional forms to a project, you add additional classes, which are stored in their own files. So we've added additional classes. Whoops, sorry, I just hit the mic cord. So we've added additional classes before. So when you create event handlers for specific forms controls, you write them as methods in that forms class. So we've done that before, obviously. So every time I talk about this stuff, it's always going to be in the playlist. So all the videos kind of just add on each other. You don't need to see the whole thing for this video, but it helps if you do, because sometimes I reference other classes and all that. I'd recommend watching all the videos. Okay, so renaming the form1 form. So I'm in Rider. I'm using Rider. You can do this in Visual Studio. So it's similar, but it's a little bit different. But I have the keyboard. I have the shortcut set up for Visual Studio shortcuts, anyways. So renaming the form1. So the form1 form, when you add forms to a visual C# project, they are given default names such as form1, form2, and so forth. So pretty much we've just been having them as form1. If you have only one form in a project, there is no reason to change the form's name. But when you have multiple forms in a project, you'd want to give them different names. Before you add a new form to a project, it's a good idea to change the name of the form1 form. In these docs we always change the name of the form 1's form to main form. Okay, so if you have you can think of it like a main method. You may have had me reference the form 1 class almost as a main method, like that it has a main method, not the class, but like kind of the constructor is similar to the main method, but it's obviously not exactly a main method. But you can change the name to main form. This part isn't that important unless you're taking like an online, if like your school is gonna make, like if you're taking this in school, like in university, if you're actually gonna be supervised, or not even supervised, if you're not even supervised. What if you have to create, if you're doing some kind of test or final test or whatever, and you have to create an app, and they're gonna want you to change the names, you might have to do this. If they want you to create a multi-form app, and you're being timed, if you get an hour and a half to do the whole test, or 3 hours, whatever, and at the end it's like create a multi-form project, well, you're like, well, oh, I forgot how to create another form. So I'm just going to do it down here and lose some marks. Well, yeah, so if you want to get all the marks, you're going to have to just, we're going to have to learn how to do this, I guess. So it's pretty easy. You just have to click some buttons, and then the form will pop up, change some names. You don't have to change the name to main form. You don't have to change form 1's name to main form, but you can. So in the docs that I have, pretty much they change the name to main form. So pretty much we might do that. So it says in the docs that when you do this, Visual Studio automatically changes the name of the form 1 to main form. Okay, so I'm not sure if that happens in Writer. We'll find out here. So we'll right click the form1.cs in the Solutions Explorer. So the Solutions Explorer is here on the left. Form1.cs, right click it. Okay, so a pop-up menu is going to appear. I don't think you can see mine. Select rename. Okay, so they want us to rename it. Okay, so rename. I think it might be refactor in IntelliJ stuff. I tried to do this last time, it didn't work. But I've done it before in other IntelliJ. Sorry, not IntelliJ. I've done it in other JetBrains apps, such as, or like software, their IDEs, such as IntelliJ, PyCharm, C-Line. So pretty much you can just go here, you can click, I think usually it's refactor, but this time it says refactor this. I'm going to click refactor this. I'm going to go with rename. Okay, so I'm going to rename. So we're going to change this to just mainform.cs. Mainform.cs. Rename this form 1 to match the new file name. I did that last time and it didn't change. Okay, it worked this time. So now public partial class main form inherits from form, and then public form, then public main form. Public main form takes this method initialize component. So you've seen all this before. All we did here is just change the class name from, we changed it from form 1 to main form. Now we have our main form here. Okay, so obviously that part isn't very hard. It's kind of stuff they teach you in high school, so not that hard to do. Even though sometimes it can be complicated when you're working with new software and all that. Sometimes it can be the hardest part, I'm not going to lie. Okay, so for the next part we're going to go, so basically the dialog pops up, do you want to change? Just hit yes. So it'll be a little bit different in Visual Studio, but the docs I have are meant for Visual Studio, so at least most of it should be the same. Some of the names and stuff will be different that I described to you. The rider names, they don't have rename, they call it refactor. They have a different, like their tabs at the top sometimes are different. It's a little bit different than Microsoft stuff, but it's very advanced. I would say that they're more advanced than Microsoft. Well, maybe not Microsoft, but at least Microsoft's like IDE. I'd say their IDEs are very advanced. They're really good, and it's quick. It's much faster than Visual Studio as well. Probably because it's lighter weight. It doesn't have like all the languages built into one, whereas like VS Code does. Okay, so for the next part, we're just gonna be doing this kind of stuff for now. So just kind of just changing some class names and adding another form and all that. So just kind of boring stuff. So here, basically it's been renamed. Now add a new form to a project. So we can add a new form to a project. We'll click project. I don't even know, that's supposed to be in Visual Studio. It's supposed to be in the menu bar. I don't see it here. Perhaps it would be in navigate. For me, well, refactor's also at the top here too. Okay, so that's something else. So I could go file up here, maybe new solution. No, that's not going to be it. Okay, it's somewhere here. So click project on the Visual Studio menu bar and then select add Windows form. From the project menu, the add new item window should appear. Okay, I'm not seeing that in Rider. I assume you can just do it from the solutions window here. Windows Form app, add Windows Form. Okay, so I think that would be the Rider translation here, or basically the equivalent. So we go with right click if you're using Rider on the Windows Forms app, whatever you have it, whatever it's called. Go add. We going with new project? No. Okay, so this is a little bit tricky. We're not starting a new project. We want to add a Windows form, so it's not going to be this. So if you can see this here, the first kind of tab in the drop-down menu is like